comment a little while ago asking if I could do a deep dive into a particular Hunger Games character, Johanna Mason. So let's do that. So Johanna is a complex and memorable character from the Hunger Games. She first appeared in Catching Fire, and she plays a key role in the rebellion against the Capitol in the last book. She's fierce, she's sharp-witted, and often unpredictable. She's known for her defiance, her resilience, and a deep sense of trauma caused by the brutal events in the Hunger Games. But let's look at her background and her earlier life to begin with. Now, she's from District 7, and that is the lumber district. It's a working class district, and the residents are tough and accustomed to physical labour. However, Johanna's strength and her toughness isn't just physical, it's also mental and emotional. And you really see that throughout the series. Her background is tragic. She had a family that she loved and she adored, but like many other tributes, her life was shattered by the Hunger Games. It's implied that she lost her family during her first participation of the Games, which left her emotionally scarred and motivated to survive no matter the cost. This reminds me of another character, which I'm not going to mention. If you've read the book, you know. If you haven't, I'm not going to ruin it. But this doesn't surprise me that families get targeted, whilst their loved ones are in the Games. It's not surprising. Now, her first Games was the 71st Hunger Games. So she's initially introduced as the victor of these Games, where she displayed an incredible ability to manipulate people and situations to her advantage. The Games are brutal, and she's forced to endure the emotional trauma of participating in them. So her victory was a combination of intelligence, ruthlessness, and a determination to survive at all costs. During the game, she puts on a highly calculated public persona. She comes across as someone who is indifferent to Capitol demands, and she becomes known for her ability to fake emotion, using her charms and strategic behaviour to gain favour with the audience and the Capitol. So Johanna is then reaped for the Quarter Quell, which is a special edition of the Hunger Games for the 75th anniversary, along with Katniss and Peter and many other people as well. And she initially comes off as quite cold and distant, but she formed an alliance with Katniss and Peter. One of the most memorable things is where she strips naked in front of the cameras just to show her defiance and symbolising the rejection of the Capitol control. Now, this really shocks the Capitol, and it sets the tone for the rebellion that she has against them. Now, she does actually prove to be an expert at playing the Games. She's highly intelligent and resourceful, willing to do whatever it takes, including manipulating other tributes. She does eventually create a relationship with Peter and Katniss of mutual respect. There is a sense of her being emotionally distant and hard to really truly understand. She always seems to have a wall up, doesn't let anyone get too close. She is cynical and sarcastic, she is sharp-witted, and she has biting humour. She uses these traits to protect herself emotionally from the pain of the past and to keep others at bay. Her humour is often dark and cynical, just highlighting how deeply affected she is by her experiences, which leads us on to the trauma and PTSD part. Now, one of the most prominent aspects of Johanna is the PTSD that she's had from these games. She's deeply scarred emotionally and mentally by the Games and the Capitol's treatment of her. And this is very evident during the Quarter Quell, where she's clearly struggling with the psychological effects of having participated in the Hunger Games multiple times. But her rebellious spirit is one of her defining characteristics. She refuses to conform to the Capitol's expectations and resists their control. Her defiance is most clearly shown in her actions during the Quarter Quell, where she deliberately disrupts the Capitol's narrative. In the Mockingjay, her participation in the rebellion against the Capitol is driven by a desire to tear down the system that's hurt her and others. But beneath her tough exterior, she's extremely vulnerable. And she's scarred by the things she's had to endure. She has a difficult time connecting with others emotionally, but her actions, particularly in the relationship with Katniss and Peter, reveal that she is capable of great loyalty and care. even if she doesn't show it in the traditional ways. After the events of the Quarter Quell, she is then rescued by District 13, and she becomes a key member of the rebel forces, fighting against the capital. Now, she plays a crucial role in the war, helping to defeat President Snow and bring down the capital. She fights not just for herself, but for the future of all the districts. She's portrayed as a capable soldier, participating in combat and strategic operations. However, the emotional toll of the war is heavy on her, and she does show how the effects of the games continue to haunt her. After the fall of the capital, Johanna, like many of the other victors, do struggle with her trauma. She's haunted by memories of her past, particularly the manipulation and the mistreatment that she had under the capital. There's a sense that whilst the physical battle is over, the emotional scars remain. Now, we do see this again with Katniss and Peter by the nightmares that they have. It's always on their minds, subconsciously or consciously, those scars, the emotional side of it. That's never going to go. By the end of the trilogy, Johanna's relationship with Katniss has evolved from mutual suspicion to a kind of understanding and friendship. While they were never going to be best friends, they shared experiences in the games, and their involvement in the rebellion brings them closer. And going through the games and having someone else there who's been through it as well, not many people can really understand that. So again, it's a way that's brought them together. Johanna's loyalty to Katniss is evident, and they do actually respect each other mutually as survivors. So let's look at her impact and her legacy. So as we've said, she's one of the most complex and memorable characters in the Hunger Games. She's a symbol of the psychological toll that the games take on their participants, showcasing the lasting trauma of being forced into such violent and exploitive situations. Her defiance, strength and ultimate role in the rebellion highlight her growth and resilience, even in the face of overwhelming darkness. Her story really shows the effects of long-term trauma, the need for justice and the desire for freedom, as well as the complex nature of human relationships in the aftermath of the war. She's not just a survivor, she's a fighter. She took control of her own fate even when it seemed stacked against her, and for that, you can't help but respect her. But that's it, guys. That's a deep dive, or a brief deep dive, into the history of Johanna Mason from the Hunger Games. Let me know what you think. If there's any other characters from any other franchise you want me to deep dive into, let me know. Don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, you take care.